If you're looking for some art journal inspiration, look no further. Hey, I'm Amanda, I'm an artist from Vancouver, and I'm here to give you some simple art journal ideas to give you that little push you need to get started on your pages. So, no more excuses, no more saying it's too hard, it's too much work. Grab whatever you have, whether it's a journal, a notebook, a piece of paper, and let's get started. Always remember there's no rules when it comes to art journaling, just have fun, express yourself, and explore. So the first easy art journal idea I have for you is collage. This is using scraps, whether you have receipts, book pages, newspapers lying around, anything that you may find, cut it up and put it onto your page. Then you can use either a glue stick, glue tape, even liquid glue, and you can stick them down. Something I like to do if I have the time is I'll arrange the composition before I even glue it onto the page. That way I can mix things and move things around more before I glue it onto the page. And it helps me to have more of a vision and to experiment more with what I want for my desired outlook before it's like stuck on the page and glued together already. I think with art journaling sometimes you want to write, but you don't really have like a creative way to express those feelings. So with collage, it's kind of nice because all you're doing is really cutting up some paper and pasting it down, but you are getting something onto the page that you can now accompany with your writing. With collage, it can be fun to experiment with different techniques. You might try different things such as layering, the way you tear up the paper, the way you cut up the paper, or like overlapping the paper. All these like different techniques can work in different ways for your composition. So whenever you're out or if you're doing other projects, it's always nice to keep a little scrap bucket where you can keep things like extra photographs, extra scraps, fabric, buttons, and you can just keep it in a place where you might think about using it for journaling later on, and you can always return to it and grab little materials that you might need. And once you've finished your collage, if you want to add more, you could add things like ink or markers or crayons, oil pastels on top of it to add kind of even more layers to it. The second idea I have for you is finger painting. Finger painting is something that is loved by people of all ages, and it really doesn't require that much to get started with it. When finger painting, I do recommend trying to keep your workspace clean, put down some newspapers or some tissue paper just around it so that you don't make too much of a mess. And also try to wear some clothes that you don't mind maybe getting some paint on because things do tend to get very messy. But finger painting pages can be done pretty fast, or they might take some time to do. I know with art journaling, sometimes it's nice just to get something on a page because you're trying to wind down for the night, or maybe you're trying to do something quick before you start your day. So with finger painting, it's nice because you can do your piece and then leave it. You can just let it out in the sun to dry, or you can forget about it for a couple of hours and then return to it and it'll dry for you. So it doesn't require too much time up front, and then you just leave it for it to dry. And this can also lead to different techniques. Maybe you want to blend all of your colors together while they're all wet, or maybe you want each color to dry before you layer on top of it. You can get different effects from different types of techniques this way. I always recommend when finger painting to always embrace the messiness of it, embrace the texture and the tactile experience of the paint like on your fingers. It just feels good and it just feels very like creative to be doing it. You kind of feel very artistic when finger painting, if that makes sense. Like there's definitely a big reason why they make you do this in like preschool and kindergarten because kids love it. It teaches you like very like sensory things. You'll understand when you do it, but it's just very like it feeds the soul. It feeds the artistic spirit in you to do finger painting. I think finger painting is a great way to remind you that art is playful. Art is a lot about the process more than it is about the final product. Who cares if it looks kind of childish or messy, but it's more about the final product, okay? Like, of course you can make distinguished finger paint art, but sometimes it's just meant to be messy and that's just how it is. And finally, the last idea I have for you is to work with lines. Now I know this sounds weird, but there are many different techniques that you can utilize with lines that can get you a really cool page. Line pages are great because they could be a standalone page if you wanted to, or they're a great foundation to start off other pages. You can do different techniques like varying the line weights with using different thicknesses of your markers. These help to create visual interest and depth to your pages. You can also experiment with things like hatching and cross-hatching, using parallel or intersecting lines, because these can create shading or texture onto the page. I know it sounds weird that I'm here like professing my love for lines, but when you need to fill up a page, lines can literally just save your brain from freaking out, honestly. And with these type of pages, it's great to like learn when to stop and when to utilize the negative space of a page. Like the negative space is kind of the empty space around the objects in your drawing and just the white space, and these can create like depth and balance to your composition. So it's great to learn like when to stop and when to have blank spaces in your page. It's good to experiment with these things because it just teaches you more about like your own art and your own style. And with line art, I think it's nice to just embrace like the imperfections of it. Like you don't need to take a ruler out and make sure that every line is straight. Like this art is meant to be very simple and very like messy and imperfect because it adds like character and like charm to the page. So yeah, these line art kind of pages, they're very experimental. It's a lot of just like working around with colors, different like thickness and the weight of like the pressure on the page. And it seems like, why am I talking about lines? But look, like you can make really pretty pages just by using lines. So there are my easy art journal ideas for you. There are no excuses. Take my pages as inspiration. I believe in you. You can do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.